Hey everyone, before we start the show, I just want to get some plugs out of the way. If you enjoy this podcast and you're into wrestling, check out the Nerds and Marks podcast or Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. If you're not getting your fill on movie and entertainment discussion, then check out the Entertainment Buffet podcast. If you want to dive into the world of video games, I highly recommend the Darkcast by my friends over at darkstation.com. Listen to them cover important topics and interview men and women from all over the industry. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's shelved mini episode. I am your host, Jeremy Meyer. Okay, so we have a little bit of news to cover here, some news about the show. First off, I want to talk about the episode that we are going to be talking about on Friday, or the episode that's going to be playing on Friday, because we're not talking about a script. We finally did it. We finally sat down, me and the wife, and watched the last Star Wars movie. And by the last, I mean the last of the original trilogy. So we did the commentary tracks for episode 4 and 5, and episode 6 was kind of kept getting put off. We kept getting busy, and then it was like when we weren't busy, it was like, oh, we're kind of tired of not being busy. So it just was kind of taking a lot out of us to sit down and record the episode, but we finally did it. We finally sat down and finished the original trilogy, and she has now seen all of Star Wars, and you're going to hear the end of that on Friday. So this Friday is going to be the Return of the Jedi commentary track, and I think it was actually one of the more fun ones we've done. She's more fluent in Star Wars now, so she had a lot more opinions on this one, and I think a lot of people will find this one surprising, like Star Wars fans in particular. But I think it was a really fun episode. I really think people should turn out for that one. It's gonna be a good listen. So look for that on Friday. Now I do have some news for the show. As I said, we got our Friday episode lined up. I have the next episode lined up. I'm going to be covering the Devil May Cry script based on the video game, one of my favorite video game series. And that movie, I have not finished the script yet, but that's going to be a rough one. And I want to thank everybody who turned out for the RoboCop episode. That was another fun one to do. It was interesting reading the comic instead of reading a script, but, it's still the same idea. It was going to be a movie that never happened, so just, a different little way to look at it. But I appreciate everybody who turned out for that one. But we have some news for the show. So we have started a Patreon. Now, if anybody who doesn't know what Patreon is a service that you can donate to, help support something you like. And it's not something you have to do. I mean, we're still going to keep doing the show. But basically, we're adding bonus content onto the Patreon page. And if you want to check it out now, you can go to patreon.com/shelved. And check out what we have. So there's different reward tiers. The lowest tier starting at $1, and the highest tier is only $25. And that one's limited. So some of the tiers are limited. For each person that donates at that tier, you're going to get a bonus episode specific to that tier. For example, we just finished the Star Wars trilogy commentary tracks. And as we were finishing, I never really intended for us to do the prequels, but she is kind of interested in them, and she knows she's a fan of Natalie Portman, so there's kind of that draw for it. And we kicked around the idea of, maybe sometime we will sit down and do the prequels, but I'm not gonna make her do it. It was just kind of a thing, but I decided, why don't we throw that up on the Patreon? And if there is interest in it, then people can contribute to the Patreon, and for every contribution we get at that tier, then we will do one of the prequels. And this also goes towards, I've been wanting to cover the DC Extended Universe movies, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. I've been wanting to cover those with commentary tracks as well. So that is also another tier. You can contribute, and for every contribution we get on that tier, we will cover one of the movies. And I want to do that with the fellas over at the 616 podcast. Some friends of a friend that have gotten to know, and they have a podcast called 616 Entertainment. You should check that out. They have a YouTube channel. Check that out as well. But if we get the contributions for that, then I want to meet up with those guys, the big DC fans over there, and kind of sit down and watch these movies and poke fun at it, because I know we have differing opinions on some of them. Like, I think some of the movies everybody agrees that they don't really like, and then some of them I know that they like and I don't. So we can get some interesting conversations out of them, and we'll sit down and do some commentary tracks for all of those movies. So these are the kind of things, if you want to see these happen on the show, you can head over to the Patreon, and for every $1 that you're able to donate, and like I said, the lowest donation tier is $1, it all goes towards helping the show. I mean, it costs a lot to keep the show going. The server costs, anything that anyone can do can help out. Excuse me, can help out, and you also get some cool content out of it. Another example of one of the reward tiers, if you want to be on the show, if you want to Skype in for an episode, that is an option with one of the reward tiers. So these are just some of the things that can happen if you go over there and check out the Patreon. Again, it's www.patreon.com/shelved. And if you want a quick, easy way to it, our Instagram account has the link. It's also on our Twitter. It's my pinned tweet on Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter, which the Twitter and Instagram are both the same, @shelvedpodcast, you can go there and contribute if you want. And we really appreciate anybody who will contribute anything that they're able to. I love doing the show, and I think it's great that anybody is even willing to listen. So I'm not going to sit here and beg for you to help us pay for the show. I'm just throwing it out there as an option. And if you're willing to do it, you're going to get some awesome bonus content out of it. And I am planning on adding some more reward tiers. I don't want to go higher than $25. I don't plan on it. There is one I've been thinking about, a single donation $40 for a specific series that would cover us covering an entire franchise. We'll talk more about that in the future if that becomes a thing. But yeah, I want to add more to it. I want to make it worth your while. And if there's one of the other tiers is you can actually pick which script we are going to cover. Like, let's say you, for some reason, have a script that you would like to hear us. Maybe you're tired of hearing the scripts we're talking about. And like, oh man, when are they ever going to cover this other script that I know is out there? And if you have it, you can contribute at that level and send us the script and we'll cover it. Or, if you don't have a script, you can contribute at that level and I will send you the list of scripts that I have, and you can pick one from that list, like any script, and we will cover it. So I urge you to go check that out if that's something you're interested in. For the meantime, I think that's going to be it. That's all I really have to say. It's going to be a short little mini episode today, but I am super excited for you guys to hear the episode on Friday. I really enjoy doing the commentary tracks, and I enjoy you guys. I hope you guys enjoy listening to them. It's going to be the last one for a little while, I think, but it was the one I had the most fun doing. So I hope you guys also have fun listening. But that's going to be it for today's little mini episode. But yeah, just wanted to get those updates out there and let you guys know. So be sure to check back on Friday, listen to that Star Wars commentary. And if you haven't listened to the other two, go listen. The whole idea was my wife had never seen Star Wars, so we watched all three of them and did a commentary track for each one. And now we're done. We got the last one up, so you can go through and listen to her first reaction to the entire trilogy. And after the last one, we do a kind of a wrap up and see, which one was her favorite movie, who was her favorite characters and stuff like that. So be sure to check that out. So, and also follow us on those social medias, Shelved, Twitter and Instagram, Shelved Podcast. Our email is shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com in case you want to send us any questions, comments, or anything. Also, be sure to go rate and review us on iTunes. Always really appreciate that. Could use some more of those reviews. I actually have a couple digital codes for movies here that I already have digitally, so maybe I'll run another contest if people want to get some of these digital codes. Leave us an iTunes review and send a proof to us in the email. I know I have the sixth Fast and Furious movie, and I have I guess that's Fast and Furious 6 or something like that. I don't even remember what they called that one. And then I also have for the new Power Rangers movie, I have a digital code for that as well. So just have a couple of those if you guys are interested. Leave an iTunes review, email the proof, and I will send you that code if you want one of those. So that's 2 people I'll let you pick. And if the first person gets their first choice. And if the next person, wanted that movie, you can either choose to go with the other one or just say, skip it. But that's going to be it. So be sure to check out all that stuff. I know I end a podcast like 6 times, guys. I know. I'm trying. I need to get better at ending a podcast. But be sure to check all that out. Check out our social medias. Oh, and I still want to do the live Q&A for our 1-year anniversary. That will be hopefully this weekend. I was supposed to do it last weekend, but just ended up very busy. But I'm going to try to take some time out this Saturday and go live on Instagram probably and do some live Q&A stuff. And I'm going to record my half on the podcast. So I'll be sure to read the questions and give my answers out loud and everything. So be sure to look out for that. But that's going to be it. Check back Friday, Star Wars commentary. Next week, Devil May Cry. And thanks for listening.